people that have learned to find wonder in their connections. So for instance, a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, a while ago, I was spending some time with my first child. One of our names happens to be Or. Yeah, Or. It's not the official name, but it's just one of our names. Or. The second one, Wonder. Right? Yeah. And then the third one, Marvel. So I had the opportunity to, I spend a lot of time with my children. I'm a very present dad. It's something I'm so proud about. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm always with my children. I'm thinking of how I can be done so that I can go and pick them up from wherever they are and then move on with the rest of my day. Right? So I'm a very present dad, privilege I'm so glad about. And it has afforded me the opportunity to know them and see them as persons, as the beautiful souls. I mean, they are sometimes chaotic. You know children. If you know children, you know children. But then they have this beauty about them. So I was spending a moment with my child. I think we stepped out to get something. We got back home, got out of the car. We're just trying to get to the house. I just wanted to get inside. But then it was early evening. As we were walking in the compound, we have this green, spacious area. She just looked up and saw the moon. Right. And, she went, "Daddy, look at the moon." And I looked up and I saw the moon. Beautiful moon. But it didn't stop there. It wasn't the first time she had told me to look up at the moon or look up at the skies. And sometimes it's usually a very beautiful experience. She once told me to look up at the skies. I looked up and I saw the most beautiful sight. The clouds were so beautiful that I had tears in my eyes. Interestingly. It wasn't because the sun was blinding. It was because the clouds were actually very beautiful. Right? So I had tears in my eyes. So this day she looked up, saw the moon. "Daddy, see the moon." And she didn't stop there this time around. She had been saying, "Look at the moon." "Oh, the moon," since she knew what the moon was. Anytime she sees the moon, the moon, the moon, the moon. But this time around, it didn't stop at the moon. It became a thing of, "Daddy, carry me so that I can touch the moon." I have never imagined myself touching the moon. I mean, as an adult, I know that you cannot touch the moon. No matter how, you have to really have so much elasticity for you to be able to stretch from where you're standing to touch the moon. And there's a great chance that by the time you get there, the moon may not be in the same position. Because constant motion, alright? But then because of my interactions with children, I knew that it would be a very foolish thing for me to say, "Sorry, dear, you can't touch me." When you make statements like that, that's how you kill dreams. When you begin to tell a child, "You can't do this, you can't do that." "Daddy, can I fly?" "Yes, you can fly." But while you're saying yes, you can fly, you also make provisions for their safety when they are trying to fly. Yeah. So I said, "Okay, you want to touch the moon, no problem." I lifted her up to touch the moon. So at first she saw that she was not touching the moon. She said, "Daddy, I'm not touching the moon. Can you please move me closer?" So that I can, because we were looking at the moon at an angle, it wasn't directly above us. So I said, "Okay, I will move you closer to the moon." Then I kept moving, "I'm not touching the moon, move me closer to the moon." And we kept, "Sorry, I can't walk forward." But we walked a distance until we got to the edge of the compound. And at that point, I told her, "Sorry, we can't really keep going closer to the moon now. Another day we'll try again." Right. Now the reason for that is because I've come to a realization that oftentimes that wonder is the flame, is the match that ignites the flame of creativity. It starts with wonder, but when you combine that wonder with a bit of curiosity and you add a dose of maybe adventure. To them it's play, right? But you add a dose of adventure or play, and then you add a bit of tenacity to it. You're likely to come to a place of creative genius. So oftentimes what we see as genius at the end of the day, someone doing something wonderful, starts with the person, imagine hearing that someone was sitting under a tree and an apple fell on his head and he discovered gravity. How does that make sense? If not for the fact that he had been paying so much attention to that. So I think that this is something we can learn so much from children. As individuals, we need to leave room for wonder. Oftentimes we get to be very busy, right? Because you just want to get things done. As an adult, you need focus, it's part of you to get things done. And in that busyness of everyday life, we tend to miss out on the importance of wonder, which at the end of the day tend to deny us of some things. Alright? Let's move to our next one. So, children choose joy. They choose to enjoy. I don't know of anyone who enjoys things more than children. I'll give you an instance. How many of you enjoy doing dishes? We're going to be very few. There might be some people, but there will be very few. Right? And even those who would enjoy doing dishes, they probably do it because there is an end goal that comes to their benefit. Maybe. It can be that when you're doing dishes, that's when you have inspiration. It used to happen to me. Actually, it was how I learned how to do dishes. So I'm glad that I learned how to do dishes that way. Because if not, it would have been very difficult for me to learn how to do dishes. So I would do dishes and suddenly my mind is opening up. But for children, it's not so much about the end goal or the destination. So a few weeks ago, I started doing dishes with the same child, right? She's my first child. She's the only one who is mature enough to do dishes with me. The other ones are, she's still very small. She's a toddler, right? So what I normally would do is I would get a stool for her. She will stand on the stool. So I'll stand by her side and we'll start doing dishes together. Now, I did not want this experience. That's my mind. Like, I have so many things to do. I don't really want to spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes doing dishes. So I'm thinking, dear, I know you want to. I mean, it's almost like she's presenting a proposal to you. Daddy, let me come and do dishes with you. Let me come and rinse. Because that's what happens at the end of the day. I wash, she rinses. But I was thinking, if I'm having to monitor you rinsing, there's a likelihood that I will spend more time. So I didn't want to get into that space. But my lovely wife suggested that my child should join me in doing dishes. I mean, interesting because one less child to worry about, right? And then the dishes gets done at the end of the day. Sorry, my wife is not that selfish. She's very selfish, so I'm just joking. All right, but I decided, you know what? Let's do this together. Let's make this a daddy-child bonding moment, right? Which has turned out to be. Okay, so after placing a stool, I place her on the stool. I watch her prepare our own tools and laboratory for her. Then I stand by the side and I'm washing and I'm handing it over to her. And it's interesting because at the end of the day, I realized that I don't spend more time at the sink. Before I'm done washing, I'm seeing that she's really done and wondering what next to rinse. But that wasn't the lesson. The lesson for me was the distinction in both of our approaches to washing dishes. I wash with the mind that I need to be done here and move on to other things. But when I watch her rinsing, there is so much joy. You know, she's rinsing the plates and she's giving commentaries. It's like watching a football match. Right? She's saying, rinse. Oh, wow, Daddy, did you put knife? Why are you giving me knife to rinse? I'm not supposed to rinse knife. This is too big. This is small. And I'm watching her and I'm thinking, this is challenging and at the same time it's delightful. Because I'm seeing a little child find so much joy in the little things. And I myself am thinking, okay, I need to learn to find joy in things. Because besides just finding joy in things, there is a benefit to being on a journey with joy. Joy builds resilience. When you see someone who, instead of embracing tedium at work, you can literally tell, this is LAUTECH community. When you see a student who loves what they do, I'm studying physiology and I love physiology. And you see another student studying the same physiology, and they said, I wish I was studying civil engineering. I'm not happy here. I'm not enjoying myself. Do you see any difference between them? If there is any of them that's meant to last the journey or do well, which of them is it likely to be? The one who enjoys the journey. So at the end of the day, joy builds resilience. Your ability to find joy in the things that you do, your ability to laugh, your ability to find fun in the journey, to delight in the journey and not just the destination. I watch with the destination in mind. She does it to enjoy the journey. So much that when we are done, she's still saying that I still want to rinse. Is there more to rinse? I'm saying, I'm sorry, no, there's no more to rinse, now we have to go. And this is something I've learned from just interacting with a child, that learn to choose joy always. Children, I don't know how many would agree with this, but children have the best relationships. Who is in doubt? Children have you seen children relate with each other? Children cannot bear grudge. They can hardly bear grudge with anyone. Children have to fight through a lot. But then if you are a self-made designer, a self-made software developer, you learn from someone, and all the design knowledge and software development knowledge came. No. And that's something I've realized about children. Children are always willing to ask for help. No, help me, I can't do it. I can do this in promotion. Right? So yeah, CNN Africa, we'll go short to the world. You can do that from wherever you are. Yes. There is the opportunity for safe interaction between adults and children. So yes, I may not have a child, I may have a child, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I should be denied the opportunity of interacting with children. But there needs to be a system that ensures that there is safety across board, because children are a very vulnerable group. They are actually one of the most vulnerable groups you have. So, but in order to be able to gain the benefits of interacting with children, I strongly believe that spaces should be constructed in such a way that adults and children can meet. It doesn't mean that that should happen all the time, but you should be able to see what children are like. You're likely to find inspiration from them. So, finally, I am not asking you as an adult to stop being an adult. Yeah. I'm not asking you to become a messy, often needy, fully dependent individual. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you to become very scattered and always needing somebody to clean up after you. No. I'm only saying that in as much as we are adults, we need to find a healthy balance between being adults and retaining the beautiful natures of a child. Right. There needs to be a meeting point between the values that you have gained as adults and ensuring that you don't lose the values you came into the world with and possessed as children. Alright? Pablo Picasso said it very well. He said, every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up. I would like to paraphrase it this way. Every child is creative. Everyone is born creative. Everyone is born lovable. Everyone is born beautiful. Everyone is born amazing. Everyone is born with a dream. I'm living my dream, interestingly. I think I'm one of those. I happen to be so fortunate. I studied electrical electronics engineering. I'm an engineer by profession. But somehow, I was able to come back to what I was originally and then mature into it, right? So I'm not saying just be a child and all that, no. But find a healthy balance. Children, creative, lovable, kind, not egoistic, and hopefully find a way to stay that way even in your adulthood. So I hope that this has been an interesting conversation. It has been fun. Thank you so much.